Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Big D's and Liam's Custom Garage. I'm Big D.
And I'm Liam.
Sorry about the background noise. We got the AC going. It's a little hot today.
It's a lot hot.
Yes, it's a very lot hot. But yeah. On today's episode, it is finally happening. We are starting the build of the 350 motor for Dark Matter, the K-5 Blazer. So enjoy today's video. We will see you right back here at the end. Here we go. Okay everybody, well here we are with the 350 that we are building for Project Dark Matter. Now if Liam comes in over here real quick, before I flip the motor over, this is a 350 4-bolt main, and if you're not familiar, what that means is the main caps, instead of having only 2 bolts per cap, they have 4. So it makes it extra strong. Anyway, as you guys can see, we are completely clean on the bottom side. We have repainted our block. I have installed new freeze plugs. Everything is nice and cleaned up. Cam bearings have been removed. No, the new ones have not been installed yet. Reason being for that, our cam bearing tool, be honest with you guys, is a piece of junk. And therefore now I am going to be taking it to the machine shop and getting them installed there. But other than that, yeah. So we flip the motor over. Now, backstory on this motor. This motor started its life as a GM crate motor. It was produced in 1994. It was purchased and installed in Dark Sin, the El Camino, in 95. And then Liam bought it shortly thereafter, and it became his daily driver until 2003. So the motor was always very well taken care of by Liam. He kept the oil changed on it. He changed the oil every 3,000 miles if it needed it or not. He kept spark plugs changed in it, everything. So because of that, there's no need for us to have to bore out our cylinders because they were in good shape. So all we did was run the ball hone through them real quick and just clean them up and put in some new crosshatch. Yeah, there's a little bit of surface rust right now, but that's mainly because I need to put another coat of WD-40 on it. Also a reason why I flipped it over. I want to show you guys some of my little tricks. I'm not going to show all of my little tricks because I don't give away all my secrets. Anyway, to help with oil flow in my motors, if you look up here, right here, these are oil return / oilers for your timing chain / timing gear. And normally they are very restrictive because of casting from the castings of the block. They don't clean them out real well. So what I like to do is I come in here with a porting tool and I clean all those out, and then I smooth them out with a cartridge wheel to help with oil flow. And then I do the same thing back here where it drains back into the oil pan. And the last thing I like to do is right here on the cam oilers, there's these holes and they have normally very sharp edges on them. I like to just kind of round them off, get rid of that sharp edge. It just helps a little bit with that oil flow. As you guys can see, top side motor is ready to go, ready for reassembly. Water jackets are cleaned out, and again, new freeze plugs, oil gallery plugs, fresh paint, whole 9 yards. So that is the quick overview of the motor. And now me and Liam will meet you right back at the desk here in just a second. So here we go. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Well, what we are doing for our first task in the motor assembly or motor build is we have to properly gap our end gap on the piston rings. We, on our top ring, are going to go right in the middle between 0.018 and 0.020, so probably going to go with a 0.019 on our top ring, and our secondary ring can be 0 or 0.024 to 0.028, so we'll go right in the middle there. And yeah, so this is going to be our first cylinder, and I am now going to show you guys the proper way to gap your piston rings. Now, I will tell you guys this much: it is a tedious job because you have to install and remove and install and remove and install and remove, and it's pain. I'm not gonna lie to you there. So you got to get your ring started down in like so. Okay. Now you would think, okay, you would gap them from the top of the cylinder wall, but you would be wrong, because the cylinder walls have a taper to them. So you actually want to gap them with the ring closer to the bottom of what we are trying to do here. So what I like to do is I'll take a old piston like so that I've removed the factory rings off of, and I just use it as a nice little guide. It squares up the ring that you're working with. And again, we want to push it close to the bottom, not all the way to the bottom, but close to the bottom. Okay, about 3/4 of the way down, which is about where we're at now. You guys can see the ring, and then you can see the bottom of the bore. Okay, now we got to get our feeler gauges out. Okay, and remember, we said this top ring, we want it set between a 0.018 and a 0.020. So this is our feeler gauges. If you guys are not familiar with what feeler gauges are, they are flat pieces of metal that have different thicknesses, and then they got numbers on the faces of them that tell you what they are. So, and sometimes even to get what you're looking for, you'll have to stack a couple. So again, we needed a 0.019. There's a 0.15, a 0.10, 0.08, 0.06. Okay, well, we do have a 1.9. We have a 1.5, which is too small. And then we have our 2.0. So 2.0 is fine for this motor. So that is what we will go with for the top ring. Now we fold the rest of these up like so. Now I should have positioned this where you guys can see the gap. I'll do that on the next one. Okay, we are, wow. Okay, well, we are not going to have to file these top rings down at all. So they are right at already set at 0.20. Don't know if you guys can see that number or not, but that is a 0.20 gap feeler gauge. Okay. All right, but our gap, let me reposition the camera for you guys just a hair. There's our gap right there. And as you guys can see, she's right there. So, let's see if I can't get my big mitts out of the way so you guys can see it. Right there is the gap. So that one's set already, so we don't need to mess with that. I do want to pull it up closer to the top and recheck it. Okay, get my piston back out so I can square it up in the bore. Okay. And then we'll check it again. Yep. Hold on. Yep. We're good. So that one is set already. So we're not going to have to worry about that. Okay. So that's one top ring. Now let's go ahead and we're going to gap the secondary ring. And the secondary ring we want somewhere between a 0.024 and a 0.028. So, we'll get our feeler gauge out again. Okay, 25 is right in the middle of what I have feeler gauge wise. So the bottom one will be gapped at 25. All right, now this time I'm going to put the groove in where you guys can see it. See how wide the groove is before it goes into the cylinder? So, just kind of work it in there, because it is going to be like a spring, so you kind of have to slowly work it into your cylinder. Okay, get our factory piston back out again. Okay. Pushed it down to the bottom of the bore. Trying not to blind you guys with the flashlight, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, hopefully you can see the gap right there. So it's squared up. We got our feeler. You can see the gap. It looks like a little black mark. Okay, let's check it. All right. Those are also gapped. Okay, so it appears that our rings have been pre-gapped. This one's actually looser than the feeler gauge, but not too much that we have to worry, but it's in spec because it was 0.24 to 0.28 and we're using a 0.25, so it's definitely in the right range. So our rings have been pre-gapped, so we do not need to gap the rest of them for the process. Now, if it makes you guys feel more comfortable in your situation, to go ahead and check all the rest of your rings for gap, that's perfectly fine. But normally when you run into two rings that are right in the specs already, that means there's pretty much no reason to go about checking the other ones, in my opinion. But again, everybody's different, and if you feel more comfortable checking all of yours, then go ahead and do that, and more power to you. Especially if it's your first time ever building a motor, it's always good to double, triple, quadruple check your work. Okay, so we brought it back up to the top-ish of the cylinder. We're going to recheck it like so. Still trying to get it down out of your guys' way so you can see, but sorry about the camera shake, guys. Anyway, okay, so as you guys can see, there's the gauge. We're going into the groove, and still right in where it's supposed to be. So our rings have been pre-gapped from Summit Racing, or I shouldn't say pre-gapped, they were just cut in their they were cut within the proper tolerances. So yeah, and that's pretty much it there, guys. That's how you check the gap on your rings. Sorry we couldn't show you guys actually how to gap them, because they're already in tolerance, so there's no reason to touch them. So anyway, well, with that being said, we will meet you right back here in just a second. All right, guys, well, welcome back. As you guys can see, we got our rings gapped. Well, technically they were already gapped, but we checked them to see if they needed to be gapped, and they were already within tolerances of what they needed to be. So we're good to run with them. Now, again, like I said in the video, feel free to check all your guys' rings if you want to, but normally, again, if 2 out of the whole set are right where they should be, pretty much tells you right there they're all going to be that way. So, yeah. We are going to be continuing on with the 350 build here in a week or two. That is because we have stuff off at the machine shop right now. So as soon as that stuff comes back from the machine shop, we will be able to continue on with the assembly of the new motor. So, Liam, what do we got coming up for them?
Next week we are going to be working back onto Project Apocalypse, where we have our body lift that we're going to be doing. It's a 1-inch body lift, pretty much just a set of spacers for the body bushings, and there's also a little spacer for the steering
shaft that goes down to the gearbox. There's a spacer that basically extends the steering arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, quick question, since we are on that, are we replacing the actual bushings as well, or just installing the lift kit?
Just installing the lift kit for now.
Okay.
Unless we do find some problem bushings that need to be replaced, we will go ahead and do that.
Yeah, if they're crazy dry rotted and falling apart, then you kind of don't really have a choice in the matter. But
yeah,
if they look to be okay, why not reuse them?
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
We'll get to that next week.
Yep. So with that being said, please, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, a lot of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel. Please hit that subscribe button for us. We greatly appreciate it. And also, hit that like button also if you like today's video. And be sure to hit that bell notification up in the corner so you get alerts to your mobile devices anytime we go live or upload a new video. So with that being said, we will see you guys next week. I am Big D.
And I'm Liam.
And we're out.